Look at their eyes. Not the handshake, not the trophies. Look at the eyes. For 15 years, the world watched dart's greatest rivalry and thought it was just sporting competition. It wasn't. It was psychological warfare. It was paranoia. It was genuine, visceral hatred. Phil Taylor didn't just want to beat Raymond van Barneveld. He wanted to end him. And Barney? He wanted to take the one thing Taylor couldn't buy, the people's love. This isn't a story about 180s. This is the autopsy of a relationship that nearly destroyed them both.
To understand the hatred, you must understand the landscape. Phil Taylor wasn't just a champion, he was the landlord of the PDC. He built the house, he owned the keys, he had destroyed every challenger. Then came the Dutchman. When Raymond van Barneveld switched from the BDO to the PDC in 2006, it wasn't a transfer, it was an invasion. Taylor took it personally. This wasn't just another player. This was a four-time world champion from the rival code coming to steal Taylor's dinner. The media fueled the fire. They painted Barney as the savior, the man who could beat Taylor. Taylor, a man fueled by insecurity and a desperate need for dominance, saw this as an insult. He viewed Barney not as a colleague, but as a usurper. The tension wasn't gradual, it was instant. Taylor refused to acknowledge Barney's BDO titles as legitimate. In interviews, he was dismissive, cold, calculated. He wanted Barney to feel unwelcome. He wanted him to break. Then came January 1st, 2007, the Circus Tavern, the greatest match in the history of the sport. The script was supposed to be simple. Taylor asserts dominance, the invader goes home. It didn't happen. Barney matched him dart for dart.
The hatred brewed with every set. When Barney hit that double top in the sudden death leg to win the world championship, he didn't just win a trophy. He shattered Taylor's aura of invincibility. Taylor stood there destroyed. For the first time in a decade, he looked mortal, and he never forgave Barney for exposing that mortality. The friction wasn't just professional, it was cellular. They were diametrically opposed species. Phil Taylor was a machine, a grinder, a man who would wake up at 6 a.m., practice for 8 hours, and eat the same meal every day. He was disciplined, ruthless, and devoid of sentimentality on the hockey. He didn't care about being liked, he cared about winning. Barney was the artist, the romantic. He needed to feel the flow. He thrived on adoration. If the crowd went quiet, Barney crumbled. If his coffee was cold, Barney lost focus. Taylor knew this, and he weaponized it. Taylor despised Barney's laziness. He saw a man with God-given talent who didn't work for it. To Taylor, who sculpted his success through blood and sweat, Barney's natural ability was an insult to the work ethic. Barney, conversely, saw Taylor as a robot, a bully. He couldn't understand why Taylor couldn't just play, why it always had to be a war, why Taylor had to humiliate opponents rather than just beat them. Barney wanted a friend. Taylor wanted a victim.
The Cold War turned hot at the 2012 World Championship, semifinal. The friction had been building for 5 years. Taylor won the match 6-4. It was a grueling, nasty affair. But the darts were irrelevant compared to the aftermath. The handshake, the most analyzed handshake in darts history. Taylor gripped Barney's hand. He pulled him in, a literal power move. He whispered something aggressive. Barney reacted. He shoved Taylor away. "Get off me!" The masks slipped. The polite gentleman's game facade vanished on live television. Backstage, it was chaos. Security had to intervene. Taylor later claimed he was just being passionate. The truth was darker. Taylor was angry even when he won. He was angry that Barney had pushed him. He was angry that the crowd still chanted Barney Army, even as the Dutchman lost. That night proved that the rivalry had transcended sport. It was personal. It was ugly. It was real.
Taylor didn't beat Barney with darts. He beat him with mind games. The investigation into their head-to-head record reveals a disturbing pattern. Taylor knew how to trigger Barney's demons. The tactics were subtle but brutal. Taylor would slow the game down when Barney was in a rhythm. He would stand too close behind him at the ock. He would make subtle comments during breaks. "You look tired, Ray. Is your sugar low, Ray?" He planted seeds of doubt in a mind that was already fertile ground for anxiety. There were rumors of text messages, mind games played via SMS before tournaments. Taylor denies it. Barney has hinted at it, but the result was undeniable. We saw Barney capitulate in matches he should have won. We saw the head drop. That wasn't just Barney being weak. That was the result of years of systematic conditioning by Taylor. Taylor had trained Barney to lose. He had conditioned him to believe that resistance was futile. It was the dismantling of a man's ego, dart by dart, year by year. What did this hatred cost them? For Barney, it cost him his prime. He spent the decade chasing Taylor, obsessing over Taylor. He changed his dart setup every week, trying to find the magic to beat the power. He battled diabetes, depression, and burnout. The shadow of Taylor was so large it blocked out Barney's sun. He won 5 world titles, but he is often remembered for the ones he lost to Phil. For Taylor, the cost was his humanity. To maintain that level of hatred, to keep that edge, he had to isolate himself. He couldn't have friends on the tour. He became paranoid. Every young player was a threat, but Barney was the ultimate enemy. Taylor sacrificed popularity for dominance. He heard the boos. He saw the Barney Army signs. It ate him alive. He had the trophies, but Barney had the heart of the people, and that was the one victory Taylor could never secure. The war ended only when the careers died. When Taylor retired in 2018, the dynamic shifted. The threat was gone. Without the competition, the hatred had no fuel. In recent years, we've seen the impossible. Smiles, exhibitions together, genuine compliments. Why? Because only soldiers who fought in the same trench understand the war. Taylor knows that without Barney, his legacy would be smaller. Barney knows that without Taylor, he never would have pushed himself to that 2007 level. They genuinely hated each other. That is a fact. But that hatred was the fuel for the golden era of darts. They destroyed each other's peace of mind to give us entertainment. They traded their mental health for our applause. A tragic, beautiful, and absolutely genuine hatred.